If I knew I could get it, I would get it. You wanted a boat, I'm gonna get the boat. You just go in the car lot and you take it. They bring in 10 cars and I'm giving them $1,000 each. I'm keeping $90,000. If a buyer wanted this specific car, then we would go to the extreme to get it.
Today's guest goes by the name of Skinny Keem, the former ringleader of an international car theft organization based on the south side of Philadelphia. For 14 years, Keem headed a multi-state car theft ring that employed dozens of people stealing high-end automobiles and selling them to African crime syndicates all over the world. The value of those stolen cars was easily $500 million, and Keem himself was making more money every week than most drug kingpins do. The story was so crazy at times that I wasn't sure if I believed him at first, and I had to check his paperwork, but I can assure you, this man is telling the truth. This was a fascinating look at a phenomenally lucrative crime racket that mostly goes unnoticed in the mainstream media. And for a bonus episode with Keem, where he explains how he dodged a Fed case and what he's doing now, check out that Patreon, patreon.com/The Connect Show. Without further ado, we've never done an interview quite like this one. Skinny Keem, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
The only reason why I got caught is because somebody set me up. They said I had a car lot sitting on 61st Street. They connected me to 51 cars in the 8 months. So that's just 51 cars that they knew about. I sold thousands of cars. I got robbed for $1 million. I made that $1 million back in a week.
Every mobster we talk to from New York or Jersey lives now in Orlando or Tampa.
Yeah.
You know
Tampa,
what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they're lucky, Boca.
Yeah.
If you got enough money. Now Miami's like crazy, crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But so you can get a house in Orlando and you know, on a big ass piece of land. It's, you know, I would never live there. If I'm gonna live in Florida, it's gonna be in Miami. But
I see a lot of them like riding by and they Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Wraiths and all that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, since I was a kid, I knew that I wanted my name. Like, I wanted people to know my full name. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And then, like, when I turned into a teenager, I started studying the FBI. I wouldn't go to school, but I would go to the library and I would study the FBI. And I didn't know if it's because I wanted to be an FBI agent, if I wanted to be a cop, or if I wanted to be a criminal and I wanted to just know how they brain work and how to move around them. And I moved around for the first 7 years. I moved around, and then I moved around again for another 7 years.
Yeah. So how did you decide on car theft? Right, because you're from Philly. You're from South Philly. Most people are in the drug game.
Yeah.
Right, from a young age. It sounds like you consciously decided, nah, I'm going to steal cars.
I didn't. I had just got out of jail, and my friend was stealing cars. So they were stealing cars back in like 1997, 98, but I ain't know how to drive, so I ain't need no car.
Yeah.
So this guy from my neighborhood, he was like the best that ever did it. He'd come through in Benzes, and he always had upper class cars, but he wasn't selling them for much. So later on down the line, when I finally found the plug to do it, I went back to him, and he started getting the cars.
What year did you start?
Selling the cars, 2006, the middle of 2006.
Okay, so I feel like it's gotten progressively harder to steal cars as the technology gets better and better. Is that true?
No.
That's not true. Okay, explain to us, how do you steal cars?
So
in the modern era?
In the modern era, you just go in the car lot and you take it. It don't even, right now, it don't even matter with cameras right now either, because it'd be the same method. If I was running the game now, I would still make a lot of money and they wouldn't catch me because I know how to do it. I know the rules, and I had rules. So everybody that was working with me, I'm not gonna say for me, I'm gonna say with me, they knew the rules. It's just when somebody came in that didn't understand the rules, that's how I got caught. But I could go up the street right now because I seen my people do it, and I can get off the lot with a car. Wow. Because we are not hurting nobody, we're not breaking no windows, you're not doing none of that. You just simply going in there, you see a key, and you take the car. Okay,
but back in 2006, were you going on lots as well?
Going on lots. Yeah, the first time I went on a lot, I got scared though. I didn't do it. I turned around and was like, but my friend, he had got the car. He was trying to teach me how to do it, but I didn't have no buyers for it. And he had buyers, but he had like $500 buyers, like somebody that's just want to joyride around the neighborhood.
Right.
So just from going with him, he had got me a brand new F-150, and I would ride around in this F-150 for like 6 months. I put a tag on it and everything, and I would ride around in it for like 6 months. And then one day I went back to my neighborhood because I go back to Southwest. I was living up in Alany at the time, so I would go down to Southwest every day. And I ran into another one of my friends, and he asked me, did I want to sell a truck? And I just came home from jail. I needed some money anyway. So I sold that truck for $1,500. And I actually met the Connect that day, and he sat and he told me what was going on. So that's how I got started in it.
Okay, so how did you get started with a crew, or were you just independent?
I got started by myself, and then I called the guy that I know was taking them. So when I got home from talking to the plug, the guy from overseas, I just got home and I started mapping it out on how can I do this and how can I get paid. I think I started off getting $700. I would get 25, I would take the 5, or I would get 2,000, I would take the 5, and I would make them also give me $200 for doing the transaction too.
Hang on, what are you talking about? I'm confused here. So who's the buyer? You got a buyer overseas.
Yep, I got the buyer overseas.
Who's that buyer?
I can't say names, but
obviously.
Yeah, but it's an African guy from overseas. So
where?
Sierra Leone, Freetown, or over in Freetown.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and he's Americanized, but he goes back to Africa every so often because he's shipping. But I didn't know this. I didn't know that was going on. So he sat and he talked to me and he told me, and I said, well, what type of cars you want? And he said, Range Rovers. So I called my friend and I'm like, all right, look, they want, I know these people and they buying Range Rovers. So if you get me a Range Rover, I give you $2,500. We're going to get $2,500 and I'm going to keep the $500 and then you're going to give me $2. Still, so
you're middlemaning a car.
Yeah.
A stolen car.
Yeah, basically I'm brokering. Through the whole thing, I'm brokering unless my people get locked up and I got to do it myself. Like one of my friends got locked up for 3 years or 2 years or something. So I had to take over until, I had to take over getting the cars until he came back out. So.
Wow. So it sounds like you didn't even steal cars mostly. You were just brokering between the buyers and the kids doing the thieving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best place to be, right?
Yeah, but when I had to because I had to get the shipment done. So I would get my other friend from Southwest and we would go out and we would have to just do it ourselves.
Wow. Okay, so in 2006 when you started, what kind of cars were you taking primarily?
In 2006, I was taking, we were getting Range Rovers. We were getting mostly American in 2006, so... I was getting Fords. I was getting luxury. I was getting Range Rovers. It was just a variety. Volkswagens, because then they start saying we don't want American cars. They needed foreign cars for the roads and stuff over there. They mainly needed trucks, but I was so smooth that I could make them buy regular cars too.
And you were taking these off of car lots?
Off car lots.
New, and these are new cars?
Brand new. Some of them even had the plastic on them.
Wow.
So it's this block. So I'm on a little block. It's called Glenmore. It's in Southwest. And then you got 61st Street on the other side of, you got Grays on the other side of Glenmore. And it's this back way right here. I had that whole back way filled up with new cars with plastic on them.
How many cars could you get like a week?
A week? Let's say I had 26 people working with me. That's 26 people that got arrested.
Yeah.
And you figure that if each one of them bringing 4 cars a week, because they was bringing so many cars, so you got to do the math on that.
Hundreds of cars.
Hundreds. I sold thousands of cars. They connected me to 51 cars in the 8 months. So that's just 51 cars that they knew about. Just imagine what they didn't know about.
Okay, so how exactly do you get a new car stolen off of the lot?
So you get up 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 8, depending on what time the dealership open. You go in there, they be so busy in the morning that they don't even know. You see a key, it don't matter. It ain't like we pick the car that we want. You see a key, you grab the key, you come back either that night.
Where is the key in a car lot, in a Range Rover dealership? Where is a key lying around?
Anywhere. If it's in maintenance, we didn't care if it was in maintenance or I had people that was going in the back room.
If I saw you, and I'm not a racist person, but if I saw you and a bunch of like Southwest Philly kids come into my dealership, I would put the keys away immediately.
But it wasn't like that. It was only one person going in.
And do they act like buyers? Do they act like they're interested? Like how are they able to slip into a maintenance room?
It's just like going into the Quickie Mart. You just walk in. It's like how they go into Wawa and they slip candy or something. Like a lot of people don't pay for stuff at Wawa. So it's just like that. Like you go in there and if you see it, you just take it. Even if you go into, let's say, a rental-car place or something. And sometimes they turn their back and the keys will be there and people would take them. It's real easy. I think people make things complicated. Life is point A to point B. I don't know about C, D, E, F, G. I don't know about nothing before A. I just go A and B and that's it. So if you go in somewhere and you see a key, I take the key and I'm coming back later on that night. There's no in between.
So if you take a key, if you're able to just find a key lying around,
you come back and you pop and you
just pop,
you hit
click it. Where
yeah.
All right.
And if that I don't know if I can cuss on here, but if that is boxed in, we're gonna unbox it. We're gonna move it with that car. So I had some young boys. They would go and they would cut the gate at night. Because they would get like at least 4 keys. So that's 4 cars coming off at one night. So they would cut the gate in New Jersey or wherever they at. I used to go to New Jersey, Maryland, DC, Baltimore, Trenton, Miami, Orlando, Ohio.
Yeah.
Everywhere these cars was coming from, they would call me and the cars would end up in Philly and then end up in a container going overseas.
Yeah, because I assume after you hit one place, you can't come back to it. Or can you?
You can, because we was hitting them so many times. But this is what I think happens. I think that the car lot don't care about this happening because it's just going to be an insurance write-off. So they getting the money back. So now these just basically sold 10 cars in a month because they getting the money back. How you think something lasts that I shouldn't have been doing it that long. So you know that it's not like they was in on it, but they got smart to it. Like, hey, let them keep stealing them. We gonna keep collecting the money off of them.
Probably charging more than what they could have gotten selling.
There you go. So let's say you got a Porsche 911. I come take it. You getting all the money back from that Porsche off of insurance. So yeah, please come take my cars. That's how they was feeling. Okay,
so you might get 4 Range Rovers off of a lot in one night. How do you identify? Do you do pretty good casing work before you go into a place?
Sometimes my friend would get the manifest on what's being delivered. So he would know like what's being delivered to the lot. I don't know how he used to go on the computer and he'd be like, all right, I'm getting this. And it'll be on the computer screen. So he knows that it's coming in there. And he just go in and find a key room and he just sometimes they'll take a handful of keys and we just come back and just pop. I used to have keys all over.
Did anybody get popped like at the scene doing that?
Yeah. So one time I told my friend, I said, hey, all right, bro, I'm going to Florida. Don't do nothing because didn't nobody had to connect. I had to connect. The connect wouldn't even mess with nobody else. So I'm like, I'm going to Florida. Me and my girlfriend going to Florida. Don't do nothing until I come back. And I don't even know why he did it, but I guess it's addictive because he didn't even have nobody to sell it to. So I'm like, don't do nothing until I come back. He goes because he already had keys. So he felt as though he could just go and take the car off the lot. And the cops was there waiting. and they chased him back. They chased him and his girlfriend back, and they got him, and they got the car.
But these aren't federal crimes, though.
It's federal crimes when you pull a gun out.
Oh, I see.
I didn't do no carjacking.
Right.
I made sure my people didn't do no. If they did, I don't know about it.
Well, most people don't know stealing a car in most states is not really that big of a charge. It's called usually like a UUMV, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle,
yeah,
or
receiving stolen property. So that's why I try to tell everybody that be like, well, bro, you did all this. You should be. No, I wasn't going to get no time. My lawyer was mad at me for doing something, but I wasn't gonna get no time. I'm like, I'm telling the cops, my right hand of God, I'm telling the cops, take me to jail and let everybody else go. It's me. I'm the brains. I'm the mastermind. I did it.
Okay. If back up. So how long did it take you to recruit this crew of, how many people did you say? 25, 26 people working for you? How long did it take you after you got going?
So, okay, I sold the F-150. I came home. I started mapping it out. And then maybe a few weeks when I really had it solid, because me and the guy was just going at first, and we were just keeping all the money. We was just going. So I'm like, all right, I want to make this big. Because I admired the guys that was really running stuff, and I wanted that. I wanted an organization.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have called it an organization back then because I didn't even know what that was. I just knew that I wanted all my friends to be together and all my friends eat. So I would go around to the neighborhoods. This like weeks after taking the first ones. So I would go around to every neighborhood I lived in. I lived in so many neighborhoods. I went around to each neighborhood, and I'd jump out the car and I'd be like, yo, y'all ain't got to stand out here no more. You ain't got to do this no more. Just come with me, and I'm going to pitch y'all on the money. And that's how I started recruiting people.
And did people quickly see, oh, this is better than like selling crack for somebody, heroin for somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
they
much?
Started buying houses for they sell. Yeah. You can make $50,000. So imagine if they make $50,000 a week. Imagine how much I was making a week.
Okay, yeah. So explain that. So they would bring the stolen cars. You'd give them $2,000.
Yeah, $2,000, $3,000 or $1,000. It all depends on what they brought. Mm-hmm. And it all depends on how it was that day. Like some people just be like, yo, I'm trying to go out, and take this car. And then I didn't like them joyriding in it. Mm-hmm. So I would just buy it off them.
So, and then you give it to your buyer for, you mark it up $500, $1,000?
Nah, 4,000 or 5,000.
Okay. So he was buying them eventually for like
10. So even if I was getting 10,000 at the end, so if I'm getting 10,000 a car at the end and I'm giving somebody 2,000, I'm still making off.
Wow.
I'm still making off. And then sometimes they would come and meet me and they would bring 100,000. So if you bringing me $100,000 and I got players out there that's bringing a car, and $1,000 back then was a lot of money, believe it or not, $1,000. So if they bring in 10 cars and I'm giving them $1,000 each, I'm keeping $90,000.
Wow. And your buyer could take as many cars as you could get them?
Yeah, because they put them on a boat. They put them in a shipping container. I had shipping containers all around.
Wow. Can you explain how that works? How these brokers, these international brokers, put stolen cars on containers being sent overseas?
So I'm gonna break down the process, right? So I would get a call and they would be like, hey, such and such coming to America. He want to meet with you. I'd be like, all right, give me $1,000 and I'm gonna meet with you. I used to meet him at this bar called the Happy Inn in Southwest. So they'd come in there, they'd buy me drinks, and they'd give me the $1,000. And so the next day, they'd give me a list. And the $1,000 was just to talk to me. The next day, they'd give me a list on what they want, and they'd give me $100,000. And that is for the cars. Now,
so they give you the money up front.
Yeah, because they trusted me. They give me the money up front. I sat in the car with my homie and had $100,000 in the glove compartment. He seen me, my homie Reek. I could say his name because he ain't had no dealing in this. We sat outside the bar and I put $100,000 in the glove compartment. The reason why I put this $100,000 in the glove compartment is because I wanted to see if he was going to take it or get somebody to break in the car and do it. We went in the party, the money was in the car, we came out and the money was still there. That's how I used to see if I can trust people. But anyway, back to the story. $100,000 they would bring, and when they bring the $100,000, they give me the list, and I get them the cars. Now, if they don't come and get these cars in that time, I get to keep everything, and they know that because they're going to come and get the cars. So they had the containers ready. They'd be like, all right, bro. All right, Ace. They used to call me Ace. All right, Ace, we got the containers, and now we ready to ship. So either the car is going to go to the port, or they'll have them on, where did they catch the container at? They caught a container on 61st and Cemetery Avenue. It was right on the street. So most of the time when you see these containers on the street, they got vehicles in there. So they drive the car up on the street like it's nothing.
And then a truck will pick it up.
The truck will pick it
and
up.
take it to the port.
Take it to the port.
Is there any kind of like, do they have to disguise the car? Do they have to put fake tags on it or anything like that?
Nope.
They don't check the cargo going out, leaving America?
No, because everybody's in on it.
Explain that.
Everybody's in on it. Everybody's in on it. The whole world is in on it. If it's the government, if it's the
Explain that. You're not getting out of talking about this.
All right, so if it's the government, so is government officials.
Who?
That's overseas or at the port.
Okay.
So, or you got workers at the port that's letting it go, so they take a bribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, over in Africa, obviously, that's all set up.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
all set
wondering,
up. Here,
did the customs
take
check the stuff moving out?
They had to take bribes. It has to be, because I moved so many. I moved thousands and thousands of cars, and none of them got caught. And I'm getting paid because it's making it over. So it take 3 to 4 weeks to make it overseas on the boat. That's the only way you could get it there. Ain't nobody flying no car there. So you take 3 or 4 weeks to get it over there. And if I'm getting paid, that means it made it.
Are you also responsible for not just getting the cars, stealing the cars, but actually getting them into the crates and getting them out of port? Or is somebody else doing that?
Yeah, that's somebody else's job.
Okay.
But sometimes I would be there to see it or oversee it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to pay anybody off, or that's already taken care of?
No, that'll already be taken care of. When they come with the manifest, or they show me the paper, like, look, I got the container. They had to pay the driver off. They had to pay this person off. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of money that people don't know about. It's not just me getting paid. It's money going through everybody's hands.
Yeah. Even in America, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely, because it has to get out of here.
Yeah.
So
where were most of these guys coming from? These buyers?
West Africa.
Okay, so it sounds like it was mostly the African countries.
Yeah, from over there.
And do you think these were getting resold to criminals or on the free market, like on car lots, car dealerships over there?
I don't know, because I got an order for, like a Secret Service type thing from over there, though, not here, from over there. They wanted F-150s for a president, and I think I sent them like six F-150s. I made a call to my people down in North Philly, and we filled the order.
Wow. That makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
and I sent them, and before that, when the person was just into the politics, I had sent him a Benz. I just gave him a Benz for free. And that's what we used to do for each other. Like, they'd just give me money for free, and I'd send them stuff for free.
So after you would fulfill an order, like with the first buyer you met, this guy from Sierra Leone, he would, I assume, tell other people, right?
That he has a plug in America.
And they would come all the way over and meet you at this seedy bar in South Philly.
At the bar. And when they come, they didn't even know English. I sat with people that didn't know English. They had translators with them. Rich people. Yeah. He had translator. And you know how you see like Africans on TV and listen, and they talk, but this was talking like, I swear to God,
like a stereotype, like a racist.
No. He was talking in his language, but he was like, but it was crazy. And they gave me the money. I sat in the back of the car. My block used to have like Bentleys. Everything used to come through this block. So I don't know how I wasn't on the radar like that.
Yeah.
Everything came through that block to see me, but nobody knew what I was doing. Some people knew that I had a lot of money, and they thought that I was printing the shit in the basement. They thought that I was making counterfeit money in the basement because they would come with all hundreds. That's all I ever got was hundreds. In the beginning, they was coming with 20s and stuff, but after that, when I got to the big people, all hundreds.
Did you get a sense that these were high-level people? Obviously they were, but did you get a sense like, okay, these are like rich businessmen, they're politicians, they're drug traffickers? Like, did you feel that when you would meet with these guys?
Not at first, but when I started going around and I started going to homes and stuff like that, that's when I knew what I really was dealing with. So I really kept it quiet.
What do you mean homes? Like these people had houses over here?
Yeah, they have houses over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Are these like foreign dignitaries? Are these?
Yeah, some politicians and stuff. Like it was one that he recently passed away from COVID. But I knew he was working with I knew the whole time that he was working with the FBI, but I was still selling him cars because I knew he wouldn't give me up. And he didn't give me up though. I think one time somebody he was with, I think they got a bug in my car. I'm not sure though, because after I switched cars with him, I let him hold my car and he let me hold his car. The cops pulled me over and took my car. So I was kind of weary about that, but I still did business with him. I'm like, he ain't going to tell on me because he making so much money. I don't know who else he probably told on, and I knew for sure that he was working with the FBI.
Really?
Yeah.
Like giving him information on other car theft rings or something else entirely?
Yeah. I think I had the only car theft ring. I think everything was connected through me, but he was telling about individuals. He didn't bring the head of the snake down. Nobody would bring me down until I started messing with younger people that didn't know the game.
Right. Okay, so they bring you $100,000, and that's like the upfront money
for the cars.
Yeah, and so you got a list of how many cars. How many cars will 100,000 get them?
10.
10 cars. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long does that take to fulfill?
A couple days, because I already be in the mix with them. I had sitting around. The news they said I had a car lot sitting on 61st Street. So buyers just come by and they'll send their associate and then they'll see the car and then they'll call back home. I could show you my phone. I got overseas numbers in there right there.
So you would have basically car lots with
all over the city.
Stolen cars just waiting to be bought.
Just waiting to be bought all over the city. Any part of the city that I had somebody doing it with me, it'd be there. I used to take these people in the slums to go get their cars.
Right. And Philly still has slums.
Yeah.
So you can but doesn't that stand out when you have Range Rovers and Bentleys just sitting in an abandoned parking lot in Southwest Philly?
But I don't put them in abandoned parking lots. I just put them on the street, and everybody knows that everybody in Philly like luxury cars. So you could see a Bentley on a messed up block. It won't stand out. It probably won't even stand out to the police.
Right. It's a drug dealer's car, or it's just somebody bad with money that lives in the projects and spends all their money on a car note.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because even on my block, I used to have cars out there. I had F550, BMW. Yeah. I had Range Rovers. I had all types of stuff. But the police never came through and said, Yeah.
Let me take a quick minute to tell you about True Classic. I'm wearing them right now, and it's just a coincidence. I didn't know I was going to have to do this ad read today. I just wear them. I wear them to the gym. I wear them on dates. Once I started being a spokesperson for True Classic, they've made me into a customer for life. It's quite literally the only type of clothing I wear. They also have pants too, athletic pants that I can wear to the gym. Everything is plain Jane now, you guys. It's all about the sleek, minimalistic look. I love that. It's great for boring white guys like me. I got a real up body, you guys. I'm 6'6" and I'm 195 pounds. And I cannot find any traditional clothing to fit me. I mean, even with a hoodie, even with a sweatshirt like this, I would buy it. It would look like it would fit, but then it would not hug my waist. It would like flower out the back. you know? And you would just kind of look like a little boy trying to wear clothing that doesn't fit you. With True Classic, it solved all of that. It accentuates the best features that you have. In my case, it's gonna be my face, my chest, my arms. I've been doing push-ups, but like I look swole. It just makes you look like a compact, athletic man that you are. And right now it's probably still cold where you're at. They have long sleeve Henleys, fleece hoodies, jeans, button-ups, joggers, and more. And I mentioned that I go to the gym in them. Yes, all of the time. Their t-shirts are moisture wicking, odor fighting, quick drying, and antimicrobial. And now that we're coming up on springtime, they have a spring essential line coming out. They've got short sleeve comfort knit button-ups, comfort knit chino shorts, 6-inch swim trunks, and a lot more cool gear. I can't say enough about them. And remember, they're affordable. You can go online and build the perfect outfit in 5 minutes or less, and everything goes great together. Best-selling t-shirts, hoodies, jeans, and more come in 3, 6, and 9 packs. The more you bundle, the more you save. There's free shipping on all orders and a 100% perfect fit guarantee with easy returns. You have nothing to lose, and in fact, a bunch of money to save when you purchase from them online. You're going to save 2, 3, 4 times your money that you would have to spend for lesser quality clothing at a brick and mortar store. So whether you're still bundling up from the cold or getting ready for spring, level up your style with clothes that actually fit right. Just go to my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/connect to save. Once again, that's trueclassic.com/CONNECT. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today. Did you ever have any stolen cars get stolen?
Did I have some taken from me?
Yeah.
No, but this one time I was sitting in the car and I was meeting a plug and everybody started doing it. Like everybody started doing it. And so I seen these dudes coming to take the car that I was in. This when the Chrysler 300 came out. So that it would look like a nice car. And they was coming to take the car. But when they got to the car, they said, oh, that's Ace. So they didn't take the car.
So you were known in the hood as like this car theft ring kingpin.
To the people that known. But to other people, I was a rapper. I used to hide behind rap. Like, I'm getting all my money from rap. Or I guess they thought I was a drug dealer. And I did because periodically, every time I would stop the ring for like a month or something. And then I would just go probably sell some drugs if I got bored or something like that.
Right.
But I would sell the drugs and I would sell them for nothing though. I was selling double ups and stuff like that. Just to pass the time until I start back the organization.
This is a way better hustle than drugs.
Hell yeah.
You know, you're making what, about $8,000 a car? Like you can't make that wholesaling a brick. You can only charge a couple of points on like a kilo.
Nope. So I used to be in the club with the drug dealers and I used to be like, man, I'm glad I ain't doing that. And then the FBI brought me in one time because my house had got robbed. So the FBI brought me in and they showed me all these pictures of people I knew. So they was trying to say that the people I knew had robbed me. So the FBI was trying to get me to start working for them. They was trying to make me mad enough to start working for them. And I'm like, no, I don't do no drugs and I'm not working for y'all on that type time. I with cars. That was my shit. And then they was like, well, ain't you mad about the money? I said, I made that $1 million back in a week. But they don't believe. Like if you tell somebody something, if you put it in their face, I guarantee you they won't believe it. Well, at least in the hood, they won't believe it. If I'm telling somebody I made $1 million in a week and I'm in the hood, they be like, man, get out of here. That's how I lasted for so long.
Right.
Because I would tell people, I'd be like, man, I made $1 million. And they be like, yeah, get the out of here. And
yeah. So you would touch that kind of money?
Yeah. They took $1 million out of my house.
Wow. So you make $1 million basically just middlemaning these cars.
Brokering them and driving. Sometimes I would drive them to the container. I would drive them to the place and I would pay that person, tell them to leave the car there, and then I'd take over.
Yeah. And your people, the guys stealing the cars, would make good money too.
It was making money, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't name nobody, but there's a lot of people out here now that's living comfortable off of what I put in place.
So as you back in 2006, 7, 8, as you're growing, do you have to start fanning out to other states because you're stealing too many cars from Philly? Yeah,
so I fanned out to DC. So I was in New York Avenue, out in DC. That's where I had my other operation was out of this hotel on New York Avenue. and I parked the cars in the hotel parking lot, and then it was like a storage unit like not too far from there. And they right there, and we'd come straight down 95 straight to DC with the cars. Sometimes the shit ain't even had no plates on it.
Did you ever get pulled over, or did you ever have to get in a high speed?
No, I got in 2 high-speed chases. One because somebody was trying to kill me, and the other one was because I was in a Jaguar and I was moving it from one location to the other one, and the cops had got on me, so I had to go. But I got away from them. I parked it in a downtown hotel parking lot. And the crazy thing is when I as I was getting chased, I was on the phone with the plug, and I'm telling him where I'm pitting the car at. And he still got the car.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. So do luxury cars or any brand new cars off the lot, do they have license plates? Or is it provisional plates?
Some of them do, because I think the store people, I think they be driving them home sometimes. But if not, then we'll take a plate, or we won't use no plate at all. We used to come off the car lot. One night we came off the car lot. I'm sitting across the street. This in I think Bala Kenwood. I'm sitting across the street waiting for my friend to come off the lot. The cops is sitting right here. He comes off the lot with no lights on or nothing, and I just get behind him. It'd be like they be so oblivious to it. Well, my way, the way that I was doing it, they wouldn't have never caught me. They would, if somebody ain't say nothing, they wouldn't have never caught me, because I turned around and I did it again. So they wouldn't have never caught me. Okay, so the idea is to try to steal a license plate from a different car on the lot that has a plate. No, that'd be too much. If the car don't have no plate on it, you just still take it. Take it, right. And then we'll have a plate in the other car, and we'll go somewhere, park, slap it on. Or I sold cars with with the plastic still on it. Mm-hmm. With the white plastic, like coming off the train. I sold cars with the plastic. Oh yeah, they must have loved that. Yeah, brand new. Yeah, and they'd be parked right in the hood, but they never got took. 3 cars got took one time. I parked them outside my house. I got somebody to park them outside my house, and the cops was right there, and he was writing the ticket up. So I had some young boys. I'm like, all right, go around the corner and just start shooting in the air so the cop can just move. And then we call the cops like, yo, is something happening around here, man? That cop wouldn't move for nothing, because he knew what it was. Wow, that's the throw off. Yeah, but he wasn't going for it. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and these guys working for you, these are like young cats from the hood. Did they ever get popped and get put under questioning and go away? Like actually do time for these cars they were stealing for you? No, some of them get popped, but they didn't tell. Nobody told. Well, because it's not like getting caught with dope, right? You're not facing nearly as much time. Yeah, but some. I mean, if you're a repeated offender, then you just keep out here doing stuff. Sometimes, because somebody had to tell them my name because they knew it, but they called me. It was somebody that knew I was a rapper because they called me Boogie, and everybody knew that was my rap name. The Africans called me Ace. Anybody I was working with called me Ace. So if you said Boogie, that means you this close with me. Mm. That means whoever told them my name in 2007 had to been taken in. Okay, so you started in 2006. 2007 is when they caught a shipment in 2007. Okay, right? Tell us about that. So I was moving the cars, and they had caught a shipment. So this one, it was done for like 9 months. They caught a shipment. What does that mean? Leaving in the container ships? Yeah. They caught that? Yeah, they caught. Okay. They stopped the shipment, and it was the cars in there, and it came across the news. And how do they catch a shipment? Like how do the port authorities how can they tell that they're stolen cars? Somebody at the port must have told, or they ain't get their pay cut, or they ain't get they. That's the only reason when something happened like that. Okay. When they find out, because it's going and going and going, and then all of a sudden they find some cars in there. That means somebody said something. The cops only come when somebody say something. You can have the longest run in the world, until somebody say something. Now you under investigation. Now they on you.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they stopped a shipment, a container, and I see it come on the news, and I see one of the people that I was working for come on the news. So I started calling everybody like, yo, I got to shut down. We got to shut down. It's hot. Did y'all see the news? Did y'all see the news? So everybody's shutting down. So I got $600,000 at this time. So I sends $600,000 over to Africa to put into a construction company because I'm trying to hide my money and I want my money to come back.
How do you get 600 G's in cash over to Africa?
The car. Oh, how I get it? Cash. Drop that duffel bag off to, you know. They got so many ways to do what they do.
Right.
Yeah, and then you think that you're making them all this money and you working for them that they're going to be 100. But if you see the news, if you see something going on the news, you're gonna be like, it's over. Okay, this giving me $600,000. I'm taking it and I'm going. You know, so I got burnt for that.
Okay, so they ran off with your money.
Yeah, they ran off. But
after the shipment got popped.
Yeah, I ain't cry about it.
But but did you get hot? Did you get arrested from that bust?
No. So what happened was one of my other friends got locked up, African guy. So they called me on a three-way from the federal building downtown. He say, yo, you gotta stop, don't do nothing, you hot. They know your name, but they don't know exactly who you are. And that's how I knew that somebody, he said Boogie. He said they said Boogie. That's how I knew somebody gave my name up. And he didn't know me as Boogie. So I knew he didn't do it. But they never came and got me though, because I stopped.
So tell us about the next 5 years. Because you did this in two basically periods, 2 7-year periods of stealing untold thousands of cars. I mean, you were making millions of dollars. What did you do with that? Did you it off? Were you living well? Were you putting it? Were you buying businesses? You're a sharp guy, you know?
Yeah, but see, then I wasn't like I am now. I just was hiding the money or holding the money, and then that's when I got robbed for the $1 million. I got robbed for the $1 million right before they took me down. So the next part of the story, I still was doing it, but I was stashing the money. So, yeah, I ain't got none now, but I was stashing the money.
All right, so tell us what happened after that.
All right, so after the shipment got took in 2007, I knew that I was hot, but I didn't know how hot I was. So I went and I hid out in a college. My girlfriend was going to college, and I just lost all the money, so I didn't have nowhere to stay. So I went to her house. She let me stay in the basement, and I didn't have no job or nothing. But I couldn't stay in the house. Her aunt wouldn't let me stay in the house, so I had to find something to do just until I started the organization back up. So I put on scrubs. I put on a stethoscope. I got a book bag, and I got some books, and I started going to the college so the cops would think that I'm going to school. So one day I'm on my block in Southwest, and I got the scrubs, and I got my I ain't had a book bag. I had papers in my hand. The cops stopped us. They made everybody get on the wall, and they said, let him go. He got his portfolio in his hand. He's like, yeah. So that's what I used to do. So after that, I did that for about 9 months. Right? I stayed off the radar for about 9 months. So 2010, I started back up. And this is the car that started me back up. That was one of my downfalls because that's the one that came up in the court dockets. So I started moving the cars again. I went out and recruited some more people, and I still had the same people that I was doing it with. So
did your buyers overseas, did they ever get in trouble at all during the time you were dealing with them?
So it was 26 people on the I'm gonna send it to you. It was 26 people on the thing, right? Only one person went to jail.
Wow. So do you call them back up and say, hey, I'm ready to work again?
No, they called me.
Yeah, they must have, right?
Yeah, they called me because after I got out of jail, I would come and I would sit on the top of my block because I knew that they would look for me.
Yeah.
So I would sit on the top of my block, and this guy from London, he came up.
Who was that? What guy? What guy from London is buying stolen cars?
So I can't say his name, but so
No, we want to know ethnicities, dude.
oh,
Who are these criminal? These are obviously sophisticated
Africans,
criminal
yeah.
syndicates.
Yeah.
So these are Africans in London?
yeah, in London. So they was based off. I had Holland, London. I had them like they was like all over, and they would come to Philadelphia just to see me. They would come to my block. They'd be like, they'd ask somebody, hey, you know where the skinny guy is? They wouldn't even know my name. They just be like, you know where the skinny guy? And everybody be like, he on that block over there.
Wow.
And they would come, and that's how they would get me.
So it's almost like these African clans spread out all over Europe, and like they share information.
Yeah,
And you were known as like the dude.
Yep, and I was in the Sierra Leone paper too. So that's how they know.
What?
Yeah, I was in the Sierra Leone paper.
What the f does that mean?
That went on their news. I was on their news. So, and this is how I was able to do it for another 7 years.
You were wanted over there?
No, when the news broke, that's how big it was.
Oh, I see.
When the news broke that they caught all this going on over in America, it made the news over there. So that made people, it's like dope. You know, they get a good hit of dope. They want that. So when it made the news over there, everybody started flocking over there to get me, to get with me.
If you sell a stolen car for 10 G's to an African broker, how much do you think it's getting resold for by the time it makes it to the consumer?
30.
Wow. 30. And do you think that they can get 30 for it in Africa?
Yeah. People think they don't have money there.
Well, the government has
rich.
money over there, and the oligarchs have money for sure.
Yeah, but it's people that you wouldn't even think rich, because I didn't think. I had lawyers, I had doctors, I had brain surgeons buying the cars.
How did you know that? How do you know who the buyers are?
Because
the end buyers.
To keep it real, it was a lot of women that was the bosses.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of women were the bosses. And after I got locked up and I didn't say who the women was, they called me and they like, thank you, Ace. Thank you, Ace. You know?
Wow.
It's a lot of women bosses.
Wow. Okay.
More than the men. I think the men work for their wives.
Huh. And they would let you know, hey, these are who, this is who's buying them over there.
Yeah.
Did the tastes change? Like the tastes in what the consumers wanted and what your middlemen wanted? Like you started off stealing like trucks.
Yeah.
How did that evolve?
So people would call me for a boat, call me about a plane before. So it'd be anything you want, a nightclub, anything I could broker, I would do. So over in is it Sierra? Wherever the diamonds at, wherever the diamonds and gold at, they wanted an excavator. So I had to get an excavator to dig diamonds up. Wow. Like I'm talking about diamonds like that big.
Yeah.
Gold, everything.
So you stole them an excavator?
I had my hands in everything, man.
Wow.
Everything. And it's like, and I be having the proof to show it. It was a billion dollar industry with the diamonds and the gold, just shaking it. And
Wow. So
whatever they wanted, if I knew I could get it, I would get it.
Yeah.
If you wanted a boat, I'm going to get the boat.
You got them a stolen boat?
I got them a boat.
How much is a boat? How much do you sell them a boat for?
I wouldn't say the prices, but yeah, I got a boat. I got two boats.
What kind of boats?
One was like a I don't be knowing the name of it, but somebody wanted a yacht before, and I was about to sell a yacht, a double-decker yacht, a double-decker.
Did you get it for him?
No, I ain't get it for him.
Huh?
But because it took 4 keys to start the engines. Yeah, I didn't know that at first, but each engine had a key, and all they had was 3 keys. Yeah.
Okay,
so what they would do is, if I get them stuff like that, they would break it down, put it in a container, and build it back up when they get there. So that's how most people. It's just like when the president come, he break that helicopter down and put it on a plane. You know.
Okay, so if you gave somebody a stolen boat, an African buyer a stolen boat, they would dissect it into parts and ship them over like that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Right. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but the cars are your bread and butter. So how did those evolve from like trucks and SUVs? Did you steal any like high luxury? I mean, you're getting Porsches. Was there any like Lamborghinis?
Lamborghinis, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, whatever it was, because they was coming from so many states. So everybody was calling me.
How did that work with the guys doing the stealing in different states? Like, would you send people? Was everybody from Philly, or would you recruit locally from like DC or New York or wherever?
The word got around because I would actually go out. When I would go out, I would meet people in the club, and it's like I got a gift. I know when somebody wants something. So if I'm in a club and I see somebody like, even if it's an African, I used to go for all Africans. If I see an African and he dressed nice, and I just walk over and be like, mingle, and then I'll be like, yo, what kind of car you like? You probably like a Benz, you probably like a Bentley, man, or something, ain't you? I just spark a conversation. And then boom, I got a new buyer. I do the same thing if I want to get somebody to work. I will go, if I'm at the gas station and I see a homeless person at the gas station, I'll be like, look, bro, you ain't got to be out here doing this pump of gas or nothing. You could come work for me and you will get some money. All you got to do is take these cars.
Did it take any kind of special skill to like go in? I mean, obviously balls and desperation, right? Like this kind of reminds me of like the smash and grabs now. Yeah. Like it's a lot of like young people that don't really seem like they had the business mind to be drug dealers.
Right.
But they're willing to, really like put themselves out there and take real risks. Did it take any special kind of qualification? It sounds like a little bit, right? To walk into a luxury car dealership as a ghetto youth from Philly, right, and have the nerves to find keys, to be able to, like, do you have to find like people that kind of blend in?
Yeah, so we had people that blended in. It was this one guy, he used to dress up like a doctor, and that's how he would get them from Maryland. And so we would go down to Maryland, and we would bring them back up from Maryland.
Interesting. So he would dress up like a doctor and go into these dealerships?
And ask to test drive the vehicle like he wanted to buy it.
Oh, no.
And then he would put on a Porsche hat and go in a Porsche. He talked so well.
Right.
You got to talk well. You, like you say, you can't go in there ghetto.
Okay, so they would actually give him the keys to test drive, but they always send somebody with you.
Nah.
No?
Nah. They gave him the keys to test drive.
Right.
It's all about how you talk. And then if you catch somebody at a busy time too, they gonna do it. How you think I'm making people give me $100,000? So he's making somebody give him the car without them even going with him to test drive it.
Are these black people mostly?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You just gotta have that gift. You gotta learn how to talk.
So they would convince the dealership to let them, and you don't have to leave an ID.
He must have had like
fake IDs, yeah. and they got all that covered, right? If they're shrewd enough to do that.
So if a buyer wanted this specific car, then we would go to the extreme to get it. Because I'd be like, hey, yeah, they want this specific car.
Right. And so what is the extreme in your opinion?
That.
Wow. So you had guys who were like specialized, like you had like your heavy hitters.
Yeah. So the heavy people, they made a lot of money, and they still eating. I mean, well, they still good to this day. They made a lot of money, the bigger people.
Right. So somebody like that, probably you pay them more money for the car, right?
Yeah.
What is that going to cost? Like a guy that goes in like a doctor and gets off like a brand new Porsche. Like,
so if I'm getting 10,000, I'm splitting it right down the middle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm splitting it right down the middle.
Right.
But if you bringing me something that I know is hot or something, I'm not going to give you that.
Why did your price to your buyers not go up? Like, it sounds like 10 grand was just like the base price.
Because I had so many coming, I wouldn't get greedy.
Right.
Because if I got greedy, they would probably go try to find somebody else to get them, and then that would mess everybody's business up, because I know that everybody out here is backdooring everybody. Mm-hmm. So when you bring the violence and stuff in, that's when things go astray. That's when things get messed up.
Right.
And I wasn't into that.
So and it sounds like every level of the chain. So you're paying $5,000, you're making $5,000, they are making $5,000. Probably because they're probably the people you're selling it to probably have to pay off another 4 or 5 people to get it to Africa.
Yeah, and
right?
you got to pay for the container. But once it get there, nobody's doing nothing for nothing. So once it get there, they must be getting a pretty penny.
Did you ever have to pay container people off? Like longshoremen or anybody that's working at the ports?
No.
Okay.
I didn't, but I seen it done.
How much do you think they're getting greased for? Like
$1,000.
Exactly.
That's it.
But the volume is so great. It doesn't sound like there was any, except for this one time you're talking about. It doesn't sound like there was any holdup at the ports.
No. Even when the cops halted the operation, it still wasn't nothing at the port. They got it from our end. They didn't get it from the port end. They didn't get it from a snitch from the port. Wow. They got it from a snitch from our side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how, after the 30 days I was in jail, I came back and did it.
Gosh, you can't imagine if it's that easy to pay off American port workers, how easy it is in like third world countries to pay off hey, I got to move 1,000 kilos through. Can you look the other way? Yeah, sure.
Is easy, and people think $1,000 ain't nothing, but if you getting $1,000 a day,
right, that's an extra 3 years' salary in 1 year. Wow,
is a lot. So you paying a driver $1,000 to say he don't know nothing. Right. Period. All he doing is dropping the container off.
Right.
So
the driver has to know too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the driver knows, he drops the container off. The container person that's watching it go onto the ship knows.
He know.
Okay.
Because he got to hook it on to there. He knows how to make it disappear or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder, is there a mechanism to see, maybe it's that every piece of cargo leaving has to have like a proof.
That's what I'm saying. I think they make it disappear in the computer.
Right.
It's so many containers on that ship. It's at least 1,000 containers.
Can you tell us which ports, some of the ports that these containers are going out of?
See, I just know about
there's a port in Philly,
Newark.
obviously.
Yeah.
And Newark.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they did it in the port in Philly, they caught them. I don't know if Philly wasn't having that. Yeah. They busted that one.
But Newark is the biggest.
Yeah, Newark is Newark. Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating.
People can make so much money if they stop taking the cars and joyriding. Mm. You can make a lot of money if people smarten up and did it the way I did it. You could, because it don't stop. It don't stop.
Well, what's crazy is I knew nothing about your story really, except from the guy who referred you to me to be on this show. I thought you were taking cars off the street, like stealing them from people. Yeah. But you're taking all new cars off the lot.
Yeah, but it was cars coming from off the street too. But
really?
Yeah. But
how much compared to
I was selling thousands of cars, so I wasn't even asking. They just was coming. Yeah, I sold thousands of cars.
But you could tell, obviously, which ones had been driven and which ones were brand new.
Yeah.
So what do you think the percentage
the ratio was?
Yeah.
It wasn't even because I think we was getting more new than off the streets. Because at a certain point, I told them to stop taking off the streets.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But I could tell you this though, the crime rate was down. When I was in charge, the crime rate was down because it was a lot of people that was about something that was doing this. So yeah.
So when you steal a car, I mean, obviously, I feel like it's harder to steal a newer model car off the street because don't they have like tracking devices in it and all this kind of security?
They had tracking devices in it back then, but I ain't care about none of that. I just cared about you bringing that car and I get the money.
But now, obviously, people report it stolen. They have a tracking device. They call the cops. They know where it is. How do you get around that?
Once it's in that container, the container too thick.
Okay, so the cops could theoretically trace the car from where it was stolen all the way to the port?
No, once it's in that container,
there's
nothing you could do about it.
So the idea is to get it from the point where you stole it into the container as fast as possible.
Fast as you can. Or we had somebody that was knocking the jacks off. So I wouldn't take nothing with OnStar on it because OnStar worked like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But if it was in demand, I would have to take it with the OnStar. But we would hurry up and, get it off or get it in a container.
What was an average time if you steal a car with OnStar in it? How much time do you have to get it from the lot or the street into that container?
So if it's coming from a dealership, you got time, because they're not even going to see it's going, or they're not going to report it for a while, because 9 times out of 10 they want it to go, because like I said, they're going to make their money. They wasn't crying. I mean, they say they lost, but you got insurance. And if you don't get the car back, you know the insurance is going to pay for it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Huh. So that wasn't really an issue, the trackers.
No, that wasn't no issue.
Huh. And so you have an expert who's finding the jacks?
Yeah, and just pop them off.
Wow.
Or you just reach up under there and disconnect the cord.
Yeah. Huh. And was there a car that was driven already? Did that fetch a lower price?
Yeah, but if they really wanted it, no, I would still get, if it's a Benz or something, I would still get the same amount. That's if they really wanted it.
Were you doing all these years you were doing this? Did you still have to go steal the cars yourself sometimes? Or did you get to a level where it was just all your workers and all you had to do was facilitate the movement?
So the only times that I would have to go is when my hired people were locked up. I didn't deal with the younger people going out with them. I go out, if I was going out, I would go with the older people.
I see.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your workers got caught. A lot of your workers got caught.
No, because they could go away for a violation or something like that.
Right.
Like, it wasn't just them getting caught with a car or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they was probably had other stuff going on, even if it was some domestic violence or something, driving without a license, and they on parole, because half of the people probably was on parole.
Sure.
You catch a charge.
How would you go in there? Because you look sketchy. No offense. I would never ever let you test drive a car without me. I would
same way they did, just
the
key. Yeah, but I know how to talk though. So even if I came in there the way that I am, I can talk. A person may think, oh, here come a hood. No, I'm going to talk.
You know where this wouldn't work? The hood. Like a hood car dealership would be like, get the out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But especially nowadays, like, people in a fancy Land Rover dealerships, even they don't want to appear like racist or
but you gotta understand, they started when, like, rappers and stuff, so they want to get that money, so they sometimes don't even judge a book by their cover.
Right.
Yeah, so you just got to come in there the right way. I had money, so I come in there with money. If I gotta talk, I gotta talk, but my pockets would be like that. So would
you walk in there flashing cash?
Sometimes, yeah. Or I would just go in and I'd be on the phone, or I'd be on the speakerphone, and I'd be like, yo, just follow my lead and just talk.
Wow. So you set it up like you're talking to your agent, and here's a Louis bag and a bunch of hundreds in there.
Yeah. So recently, I was just with I'm gonna show you a video of it when we get off of here. I was with my grandma in the car lot, in the dealership. Like Bentleys, Lambos, and Ferraris. And I got it on record to show you that it can happen.
So you could go in there with your grandma and talk your way into getting a key.
I set her right there, and she talked to the people while I was all around it. But I was going to buy. I wasn't going to steal. But it's just that.
But you were showing them that you could have stolen a car just by talking them out of a key.
It's just that easy.
So this is like disguise and acting mixed with balls. That sounds like the key to getting the key.
If they're going to do it, if they're going to give it to you, if they're going to do it, then that's just they bad. It's just on them.
What's some other creative ways that your people, your high-level workers would get cars?
So one of them, one time, he put on a trench coat, right? But this when the car lot was closed. And so my other homie was trying to push him through the window. He got the trench coat on because they knew where the key room was at. So he wanted to get the key room. So he on the lot like he's one of the after workers or whatever. And he on there with a trench coat. And he's in there and he gets the keys and he gets the cars.
Oh, so sometimes you just break in to the key room after hours.
Yeah, if you that's what he did. I didn't recommend that. I never recommended going too far. I just recommended if you can get the key, then we can get the car. Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like you ever had a problem fulfilling these orders.
I never had a problem.
Wow.
I never had a problem, except for the one time I got chased. I never had a problem. I mean, somebody paid me with counterfeit money before, but I turned around and I got all the money back. But no, I ran it too good. I ran it like it was a Fortune 500 company.
Wow.
I ran it good. And you could tell I ran it good because I did it for 7 years before they even caught me.
Yeah. So how much money were you making at your height?
At my height? So all together, I could say that I made about $6 million all together. And that's good for that.
How much the value of the cars you stole?
The value?
The total value must have been in the hundreds of millions.
So the total value of the ones from the ones from March to October was 2.3 million.
And that was just from March to October of that 1 year that they were onto you.
2.3, and that's just the ones that they caught.
Right.
See, the people don't know that is other cars that they didn't even catch. I could look and see what cars was caught. So that was 2.3 million. So it had to be over $150 million. In 14 years. It probably was more than that, but I'm just estimating.
Easily. Okay, so how did you catch your first bid? Like the first time, so you go through, you regrouped in 2010.
Yeah.
Started recruiting a new team.
Yeah.
How was that different? And then how long did you go like that?
All right. So when I got back in 2010, I recruited, how many people did I recruit? I probably recruited like 5 people. So I'm still making the money now. Everything is good. And then it was some people was doing like the tax fraud stuff.
Tax fraud?
Yeah. So I did the tax fraud, right?
Oh, the tax fraud.
Yeah, the tax fraud. And I got burnt out of $50,000. I had to pay back all these people $50,000 worth of people because I had used their kids. And so I didn't want to, I just stuck to the cars. It was some other shit I could have did, but I just stuck to the cars. I'm like, then I'm going to just stick to the cars. So now I'm back in the game, and then I get robbed for $1 million.
Okay, how'd that happen?
I had the money in the house in the safe, so I goes to, I forget where I went, Walmart or something, and I get this big ass safe. And me and my girlfriend, I have a truck. I had a Ram truck, a big white dumb Ram truck. I put the safe on the back of the damn truck, and I takes it because I think don't nobody know where I live at. I put the safe in the house. I put the money in it and all that. So a few days later, I want to go out. So I'm going out. I think it was like Soul Food Wednesday or something. So I go out. Somebody had to been watching me, and it had to been somebody I know because nobody really knew where I lived at. Yeah. Anyway. So I'm in the car, and I'm taking pictures in the car. So whoever it was had to been watching me, and they didn't want to hurt me or do nothing to me, so they just waited until I left. So I leaves, and I go to the party, and the whole time I'm in the party, everything is just fuzzy to me. It's like a movie, like everything is blurry, and I'm like, I gotta go home. So I'm like, I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm going home. I go home and my door open. I panic. I call the cops on myself. I panic. I don't know why. And they come and they go in there, guns drawn and all that, and the safe is gone. So I'm thinking I'm a civilian now. I'm thinking I'm a rapper, and it was $1 million in the safe, and the light bulbs went up over their head, and I myself up because they took me and my girlfriend down. They took our fingerprints. Now I'm hot because I done told the cops that I had $1 million cash in the house. Right. So I goes back when they take us down there. I'm like, no, it was $50,000. They like, no, you already told us what it was. But the whole time, I think the cops found who it was that did it, and they found the money because like a year later, the FBI brought me downtown, and they put me in this room, and they showed me pictures of everybody I knew. Wow. everybody I knew, and they asked me what type of bags was the money in and what type of this, and I seen everybody I knew, but I'm like, man, I don't know none of them.
So it was definitely somebody from your team who
Yeah,
robbed
it
you.
was somebody in one of them pictures. It was somebody in, and they knew it because they was watching people. So they set up this thing that they had, right? And they was letting people, something like that. They was letting people break in people's houses, but they was watching them. The cops was watching them. So I don't know if I was a part of it. One of them that they was watching, I don't know. But they definitely showed me the pictures. They thought that I was gonna be mad, and they thought that I was gonna start working for them to tell on drug dealers. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I told them, I swear to God, I was like, I ain't worried about that. I make $1 million back next week. So somebody from overseas sent me $100,000, and I had gave one of my homies some money, and then I told him I was out. I told him I wasn't gonna do it no more. And then they called me. This the whole timeline. Somebody called me, and he was like, yo, if you don't do this, we gonna kill you. That's how bad they needed it, and wasn't nobody else doing it. And I'm like, no, I'm out. And they like, yeah, if you don't come back, then we gonna send somebody to kill you.
Did you believe that these African groups had that kind of juice?
Yeah, because money brings. They had that money, but I wasn't scared though. I'm like, I mean,
Did you start carrying a gun?
No, I never carried a gun.
So now you're hot. This is kind of what gets you on the radar.
Yeah.
With the feds and with the cops. Do the feds have a division? Like, this is like crazy Grand Theft Auto kind of.
No, they didn't. They made a special unit, auto theft unit, right? But the feds never came into the auto theft. They never did, but they was like in the background. So it was the Homeland Security.
Those are feds.
Yeah, that's feds too. But yeah, since it was the port and shit, it was Homeland Security. So yeah, they was in the mix.
Okay.
But it never was the FBI just there, except for when they brought me in about that money, when I the $1 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was never no FBI kick my door open or nothing. It was all state police.
Right. Working in conjunction with Homeland Security, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did they start building that case? Tell us about how those new workers kind of like made it hot.
So somebody hit me up on a platform, and they just was like, yo, I got this Porsche. And I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking, player cool, I know him, you know what I mean? So I gets the Porsche, I sells the Porsche. But the whole time it had to be somebody setting me up. So I goes and I get they bringing me all these cars. They bringing me, so this had to be the 51 cars. They bringing me car after car after car. And I'm selling them. But not to the police though, I'm selling them to my buyers. The cops didn't care about the money. They cared about the cars and where the cars was going to the port.
Yeah.
So one night I had a deal. I had just sold 2 cars, I think. So I had $30,000 on me. So I had a deal for a Q7, an Audi Q7. So I goes up to the mall. I got my homie with me, and we all go up to the mall. And he like, yo, I don't think this is a good idea. Don't go to the mall because this is usually where they bust people at. And I'm like, nah, man, I want this money. I'm trying to make $100,000 by a couple days. So goes up to the mall, and he like, man, something don't look right. We park across the street so I could see everything. He like, something don't look right. So me and one of my other homies get out the car. We go over to the mall. I see the car, and I see the other person that I'm brokering a deal for. So we get, and me and my friends start arguing about the price in the middle of the parking lot, and the cops got this shit on camera the whole time. They got us as a recording. So when we going over there to sell a car, all these cops just come from nowhere. They just run down on us. But the thing was, it was 2 buses going on that night. So it was a drug bus and it was our bus, but they wasn't trying to bust us. They was just trying to see where the cars was going, but it still was a lot of them in there watching. They had a plane. They didn't have no helicopter. They had a plane, but the one that don't be making no noise, like the little plane with the twin engine or something. They had that because they was gonna follow the car to New York because it was a port. I guess it's a port out there or whatever. the car was going, but somehow they knew where it was going because I was being set up, so they knew. So they had the plane to follow the car. So they jump out and they grab us and they grab me and I got all the money on me, but they didn't take the money. They just got my ID and then they started arguing with each other on the parking lot, the cops. Because Cheltenham police and I think Bucks County police, they ran into each other and it was kind of like an argument because the drug deal, I guess they fucked up their drug deal. So they got my ID and they got my address and that's how they came and got me.
Okay, so you did time for that.
No, the 30 days.
Okay, and what was that charge? That was just like a...
Receiving stolen property.
Wow.
But for the 51 cars. I had got criminal organization. I had got a lot of but my lawyer was getting them dropped, though.
Okay, so you were getting set up the whole time. These stolen cars you were taking off of these guys who were selling them to you.
Yeah, I was getting set up the whole time.
Wow. And you only got 30 days for that?
It was just receiving stolen property. I went to jail. I kept telling them to send me to jail. I said, I take everything, just send me to jail.
Why did
I don't have no criminal record. I didn't have no criminal record. I just was,
I'm surprised they weren't following you and making this a bigger case, like following you, selling it to your buyers.
So this the thing. Everybody got to understand. Wasn't nobody's being dropped. Wasn't nobody getting hit upside the head. Wasn't no carjackings. So it's basically receiving stolen property.
Yeah, it's terrible police work though, because obviously this guy.
If they would have watched a little bit longer, they would have found.
So that didn't lead up to your people, your buyers.
No.
Like you didn't lead them to your connect.
No, I know.
That's wild.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
But you're lucky though.
Yeah.
Because that could have been a way bigger case.
But that's why I say you got to be smart. You got to learn what to do.
People are going to think you're lying. You know that, right?
But it was on the news. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
They do, but after this, I'm gonna show you my phone and show you that I'm not lying. I'm 100% telling the truth about all this. I'm 100%. Ask the cops to show you.
I'm not gonna ask.
I'm not. Well, I mean, to show you the recording of us on the parking lot. It's people that's still out here, but I don't say people names. I don't, because if they're not telling the story, then they want to live a regular life. So I don't pit nobody in nothing because they got stuff going on and I don't want them to be at work and somebody be like, oh, you a card,
Right.
Yeah. So anything I say, I'm telling my part of the story.
Yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're not going to believe your part of the story.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy. I'm 100% I'm telling the truth. I turned around and I did it for another 7 years. I did.
So you did a month off of 51 stolen cars.
51 stolen cars.
What year was that?
That was 2000. I think I went down 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then you did it for another 7 years after you got out?
7 years.
Got it.
They came back and they was asking me to run again.
Right.
It's a hell of a story. That's why I don't know why they won't make it, but I'm telling 100% the truth.
Yeah.
I'm telling the truth.
So you got out, you ran for 7 years.
7 years.
Did business pick up? Like, how did it change? How did it evolve?
It stayed the same because I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I knew they was watching me, but I was one step ahead of them. I used to watch them. I used to, when they first came and got me, I would watch them. After I knew that I was hot and I knew that they were on me, I would make them chase me around Southwest.
Wow. Because they'd be following you, seeing where you're going to go.
But I would get out and I would run. I would run around. Yeah, I would run around the neighborhood and I'd be like, oh, here they come.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was done. I thought it, like you say, I thought it was bigger than what it was. I didn't get indicted. It was a presentment, first of all. I didn't get indicted. Yeah.
So you just make them chase you for nothing?
No, they was about to come and get me, and I already knew it. So they started sending more people to try to get me to sell a car for them and all that. Yeah.
So you only dealt with. You would never take anybody coming up to you if they had stolen cars. You would figure that was feds or that was cops. It was only your people that you took cars from.
Yeah. So it was people that would send family members from the people that was locked up would send family members to find me out on the street to try to hook me up with their people. so they can make money while they in jail.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, that God can strike me down. This story is 100% real.
And so your value was in the fact that you had buyers.
Yeah.
You had the plug,
Yeah.
which is the plugged into
And
these groups.
And he didn't want to, and they didn't want to mess with nobody. Even when they did mess with somebody else, they came back because that person would jerk them around.
Just wouldn't do good business.
Yeah.
Right. And Africans do good business.
Yeah.
They do.
I
mean, they're shady as but they
it's
are solid usually.
Yeah.
Okay, so did any one of your workers ever try to go around you to try to get the plug?
Yeah, they did. And they did, but it always came back to me. I didn't get mad. I didn't do none of that because I already know my work ethic is better than what theirs was.
Yeah.
And that's how I lasted so long. I didn't care what nobody else was doing. They didn't that didn't faze me.
How many different groups do you think you worked with? How many buyers did you work with?
Over the 14 years? A lot. And it's a few that I kept the whole 14 years, even though I went to jail, even though anything that happened, they knew what it was.
Yeah. Who are these all African guys, or did you deal with any like other mafia type cats? Any Italians? Anybody from like the Balkans?
No, just all African.
You just kept it black.
Yeah, I tried to get in with the Chinese one time for like Toyotas and stuff because I wanted to sense. Yeah.
So the Chinese, you think, are into it too, into stolen cars?
Well, from what he was saying, yeah,
What were some of the other countries? Holland, London, England.
Yeah.
Obviously, African countries.
Yeah. It was just a lot, man. I was bombarded with a lot.
Can you give us details?
What? You asked me the question.
That was the question. What are the other countries? This is how you get people to think this is how you get people to believe you, by giving details.
See, the thing is, when I was doing it, it wasn't like I was questioning them. If you coming from overseas, then you just coming from overseas. I didn't give a where it was from. For real. And then I'd be like, all right, where you from? He'd say, Holland. All right. Hey, I'll give you $1 million. I'm like, all right. Or, hey, the president of whatever country that was, when I sent them the F-150s, I got in my phone where I was trying to get a major artist from here to perform at the inauguration for the president. I have that in my phone. Like
what country? Can you say?
It's in my phone. It's a country in Africa. That's all I know. Yeah.
It's in your phone?
Yeah.
It's a country in Africa, but you don't know the name of it.
It's in my phone. I just listen.
I don't know, bro.
Listen, I just make the plays, man.
I don't know if I keep it a buck always on this show. We'll let the public decide. I mean, I have some of the most notorious skeptical fans that listen to my show.
Well, if they don't believe it, then they don't have to believe it. But I'm telling the 100% truth. I'm telling the truth. It's wild. See, I think the thing is that people think that I was supposed to do mad years. I'm smart. I'm not going to go to jail for mad years because I'm smart. And I did do all this. I'm just smart as I just know business and I do business well. Yeah.
No, you do, clearly.
Yeah, I do business very well.
Right.
Yeah. So everything I'm saying is true. I don't if somebody come to me and be like, all right, honey, here go $100,000. I'm from overseas. I'm not going to keep questioning this where you from. Like, I don't care where you lay your head. Give me the money. If you tell me you from Africa, all right, you from Africa. So that's what I go off of. I don't go off doing background checks for the people. I go off what they tell me. So if this is what you telling me.
But I guess how would you, I would be thinking about like feds, right? Like, how do I know this cat's not an undercover? You know what I mean?
I didn't give a flying I'm telling you, I didn't care about no cops. I didn't care about none of that. I don't care about it till this day. I don't give a
That doesn't sound very smart.
That
sounds cowboy.
Yeah, because I'm not doing nothing. If I was doing something, I probably still wouldn't give a but I didn't care.
You're giving them stolen cars. What do you mean? You're not doing anything.
I mean, so all right. So if I was I'm talking about now, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But if I was giving the feds the stolen cars, and it was the feds, then I would be in jail.
Well, yeah, I'm just asking, like, how do you vet, like, just like drug buyers, right? If somebody comes and says, hey, I need 20 bricks. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need 20 Porsche 911s. So how did you make sure, like, why wouldn't you do a background check?
I just go. I think I just go off the energy that they give, that they given. If they seem shaky, I won't do it. But I'm gonna tell you what I would do. I would take that money and don't give them nothing.
Would you run off on people?
I ain't have to run. I just take the money. What the cops gonna do? Come back and ask for the money?
Right.
They not no. So they just be like, all right, well, he done took the money. And then if I take the money and you come and get me, now I know you got a case against me. So what you gonna do? You gonna come and get the money, or you gonna leave me the alone and just send somebody else?
Would you? And I assume this is all just off referrals, right? Like one guy from a group would tell another guy, and that's how you got your business.
Yeah. So the way that I knew that it was really authentic is because I would get a call from overseas before.
Right.
It's not an American phone call that's calling me. It'd be 223. So when I see 223, bingo, it's real.
Right.
So
somebody.
So if you bringing somebody to my face and I'm sketchy, I won't do it.
Right.
I just won't do it. But if you're going to give me the money and think, there's plenty of people that I got money from that didn't pan out. But that's just your loss. Or if it was the cops, then that's their loss. You gave me the money. And if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. And then you're not going to ask for the money back.
So you just say, like, hey, we couldn't get the cars?
I won't answer the phone. You got to come find me.
But yet you were known as the one that did good business?
Yeah.
Even though you would run off and not come back with the cars?
If you the sketchy one and I know, yeah. You got to be sketchy though. But like I'm saying, if I know, like I knew that one dude was working for the FBI, and like I said, I didn't care because I knew he wasn't gonna give me up. There's people out here right now that's working for the police, but they won't give certain people up, especially if they doing good business with them.
Right.
And this is what I did all the time.
Yeah. So that African guy you were giving cars to, you think he was also an informant? Or you knew that, actually?
He was, yeah.
Wow.
Because I was having a block party one time, and he came, and the cops came with him. They was out there watching. I knew it.
Wow. That's wild.
Everything is 100% true. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Did you and your people that you were supplying cars to, did they ever get knocked off? Did they ever fall off? Like, because you had buyers that would come in and out.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear? I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of them were getting knocked, but clearly this guy that worked for the feds was.
Yeah. I mean, people was getting locked up out in New York and stuff like that, but they ain't had nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They have to catch you red-handed. And what they said to me was, we couldn't get you. I always stayed in the car when I did my deals. Always behind tent. So even if you was coming to meet me, you would get in the car and you would give me the money and you would get out. The only reason why I got caught is because somebody set me up. If nobody set me up, I would have still been fine.
Okay, so tell us about that. The when you got set up for the final time, I guess you.
So the final time was me and my homie, and I'm gonna say the girl name, Audi. So is a girl from Philly. We went to and she followed me on Instagram. We went to Maryland. This all the setup. We went to Maryland, and I had to pick up I think like 45. I'm not sure how much it was, but we went to Maryland, and the next day we came back. She was there. Next day we came back. I had a deal for a white X5. Right? So they brings the X5 and I'm in the car and my homie's around the corner, and the dude gets out the car, he comes and get in my car, and I give him the money, and then I go take him somewhere and drop him off. I never get out the car, but the car got a tracker on it. So I never get out the car, and they let me go, and everything. And when they took the car around the corner to put it in the container, the cops busted it. So that was that was
you getting caught red-handed.
That
Were they
was-
following? The cops just got alerted to the tracker.
No, they put the tracker in the car.
I
It was
see.
a setup, just like the Audi Q7 was a setup in the mall.
see.
They was there. They was waiting. They was watching.
But was that feds or was that local Maryland?
It was local.
Cops?
No, I picked the money up from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not the car. I picked the money up from Maryland the night before the setup.
Okay.
So the whole time I was being set up like, all right, when we gonna do this with the car and all that, and that day.
Got it.
So when they came and took the car around to the container that was on 61st and Cemetery Avenue, the cops got the container. And that was my downfall right there.
Okay. So they swarm you. They arrested you.
No. They didn't swarm me. They didn't do nothing. They still was building a case.
Okay.
But then after I said that I took that me and the guy switched cars and I think they put something in it, they took that car and a few days later they came to my house and they said, "Hey, you know what we here for?" And I said, "No." I said, "Yeah, y'all took my car the other day." And he said, "No, it's deeper than that." And then he was like, "We not gonna take you because you got I had my son." He said, "You wanna talk?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, here go my card." So I got the card and I gave it to my lawyer and made my lawyer call and see what they was talking about. And then that's when he told me. Then I went to my lawyer office and I told my lawyer the whole story. He called his colleagues in the room. Just like you probably don't believe it, they was like, "What the f?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I asked my lawyer, I said, "Hey, is there any way you can hide $1 million for me?" And he said no, because it's not a legit. He says illegal. I said no. So he, you know what I mean?
Okay, but how did you get busted?
With the car, the last car, the cops came. They came back to my house.
Right.
They came back to my house, but this time they came back to lock me the f up.
I see.
Yeah. So they had the key and they opened the door. They knocked on the door, and then I'm like, "Yo, who is it?" It was like 6 a.m, and then they opened the door and they came in. And took me to jail.
And so you just got charged with that one car?
No, I didn't. To keep it real, I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't even never read the paperwork. I just read how many cars I got took with. I didn't read. I read how many cars I got hit for, and I read about the night in the with the Audi Q7, the night of that setup. That's what I read about. All that other shit, I ain't give a about
How many cars total was it?
51 or 52.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And that was 2019?
No, that was 2012.
Okay. So your timelines are all up here.
No, you said when did I get locked up? That's 2012.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
I see. So you did a month for that?
Yeah, I was in there for 30 days.
Okay.
And I got out. And
For 51 cars.
Yeah.
What was the charge? What were the charges?
I had a slew of charges. I had organized crime. I had possession of a stolen motor vehicle or whatever it was. I had receiving stolen property. I think I had conspiracy. I'm not sure what it was. I tell you the truth, man, I didn't even give a f. I'm like.
So what I was asking about though is the end when you got out and you started back up and you ran for another 7 years. How did that end?
I just said I don't want to do it no more.
You just got out of the game.
Yeah, I wanted
That's
to
what I
sell.
was asking about.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to sell my story. So I woke up one morning. I said, "Damn, I got a crazy story." Because I wrote a book, but I just never put the book out. I wrote a book. I just never put it out. And then I just was like, "Hey, and ABC Signature wrote a script about my life. So if anybody didn't believe it, they wouldn't have wrote no script about my life. Yeah. They wrote a script about my life story. They wrote the pilot script in 2020, 21. But then the writers went on strike, so we didn't sell it to a network. But I got paid. Yeah.
Why'd you decide to get out?
I just was tired. Yeah, I was tired.
Yeah.
It just was, I mean, nothing changed. I just was tired.
Yeah.
My homie, my best friend just died. I think that's what really, I ain't had nobody else. And I'm by myself. I'm always by myself. That was the only person I was with. And that's the only person I could call if you know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it's so long. It's so, I mean, living in the shadows like that.
Yeah.
It wears on you.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
Do. And I used to be so paranoid. So yeah. So now I just be by myself.
Did when you decided to get out of the game, did you tell anybody? Did you tell your people that were stealing cars for you? Did you sell the connects? Like, how did that?
No, I ain't sell the connects. I just got out. People still hit me up till this day.
It's crazy.
I can show you. I can open my inbox right now and show you mad people saying, "Yo," because they know. So that's why I don't understand how people say or think that it's fake when the news told them what I was doing. Like the came on the news. I could show you the article in Sierra Leone paper. So I don't.
We'll put it up. We'll put it up in the episode.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's remarkable. So do you think you made more money the last half of your career, or
no? The first half. The last half, it was just like fun to me. It just was like catch me if you can. I was just taking anything, and I'm just like, all right. That's when the diamonds came in, though. The next part,
right?
The last deal I had was, and I got it in my phone. The last deal I had was the diamonds and the excavator. That was the last deal I had.
So you stole an excavator. Where do you find? I mean, I guess it's easy to find it. You go to like a heavy machinery.
You ain't even got to do that. You could walk by and you see them on a job site. They leave the keys sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, everything that everybody think is so hard is easy. But I guess that's how people get caught, because they think too much about it. I just planned it out, and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. And that's what I'm gonna do. I sold drugs. I ain't never get busted for, so. Now,
did the Africans, they threatened to hit you? One of the groups threatened to kill you if you got out of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you just ignore that?
So,
or do you watch your back?
Yeah, I did. I watched my back, but then they called again, and this is how they got me back in the game. He said, God, honest truth. He said, my sister got kidnapped over there in Africa, somewhere over there, and the people want 3 Range Rovers. And they know how my heart is, so I did it. I got him. But when I did that, he bought me a Range Rover.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was back in the game.
I got you back in the game, bro.
And then that's when I got took down. Right after that, I got took down.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you decided to get out.
When I decided to get out, I was out. I was out.
Okay. Did you let them know, like?
They still call.
Yeah. See if you trying to test you a little bit.
Yeah, they still call. Yeah. I get calls. I get, yo, we got $1 million for you. Yo, we got this for you. Yo,
how do you turn that away? Like, how do you, because you haven't had any consequences basically for all of these years. Like, what do you do now to make a living? And like, how do you turn away $1 million that they're just going to drop on you?
It's easy. People be trying to give me $50,000. I'm making a living. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine until they put me down. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, what are you plugging, man? I know you're trying to, get this script made about your life, but why come out and tell the story now?
Because it's nothing like it, and I like for people to doubt it. So that way, when it come on, they'll be like, "Oh, this." Even when you got proof, it's like people still doubt it until it finally comes out. Even when I was posting the script, or I was posting that I'm in a contract with Disney, people, I don't understand how people don't believe something that you could see. But when they say somebody ratting or telling, everybody believes that, They don't believe nothing.
No, the internet never believes anything. It's okay. Why are you coming out? So you're just trying to basically get the story made into like a piece of content. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is your book dry? Do you want people to follow you on socials or anything like that?
Instagram. Follow me at Skinny Keem. Yeah, skinny.keem.
Hell yeah. Okay, dude. Well, that was like we've not had an episode like this before, so this is going to slap one way or another. So follow Skinny Keem, and we might switch over to do a bonus episode because I'm sure there's stuff I'm leaving out. I don't know anything about the car stealing business, you know.
Can I give a plug too?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna whenever y'all in Miami, hit up Fabs Inc. Rentals if you want Lambos, Ferraris, whatever y'all need. If y'all need a boat, they got it. So hit them up whenever y'all in
They're
Miami.
not stolen. These are
Not Fabs, my bad. Jabs.
Okay.
Jabs Inc. Rental out in Miami. If y'all need boat, cars, mansions, whatever, they got y'all.
Cool.
Jabs Inc.
Jabs Inc. Keem, I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yeah, take care, bro. Thanks, guys.